All right. Well, this is John, and this is part 2 of removing intake manifold. So I've gotten pretty much everything on the top side here removed. This actually took a long time. Let me see if I can get this hood to go in service position. Yeah, I say it took probably at least 4 hours. I'll explain a little bit. Most of it is disconnecting all the electrical wires. It was a pain in the butt. You've got, you know, it tells you in the instructions in the manual, but it doesn't tell you everything. The hardest part was removing all these electrical connectors. They're like this. These kind of you push these out, and these little hooks release, but they were still, you know, they've been on there for 30 years, really clean. But what I do for all of these connectors, I didn't break one, which is great. What I do is they're in kind of some bizarre places that are hard to get to, like, you know, like this. I get a little screwdriver, little pick screwdriver, and I'll pinch one side. Usually I'll get one side, and then I'll pinch it, and then I'll stick the screwdriver right there and just turn it a little bit, and it kind of releases one side, and then you do the other side, then it comes off without breaking. I removed all the fuel injectors, and all of these, you can, if these turn at all, you got to pull them out. They're plastic and they have a seal. I think that's the one that's got the O-ring. Yeah, it has an O-ring, and these can be hard to pull out and they can break because they're plastic. So you might need to order some of those. You're gonna need to order a new gasket for this. Intake manifold gasket. The injectors have their own little they've got their own. These are all the parts that I've taken off, but the injectors have like this seal on the top. These still look good. I replaced all this stuff, the injectors, in 2006, so it's still in good shape. And you're probably wondering, well, how come you had to take all this apart? Well, right down in here, there's a magnetic sensor that I don't know. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it was weaving in and out of these tubes here, and that ended up where did it go? I think it went, oh yeah, it went up to, it was like this line right here. That's not a it's not a connector. So I had to take all that stuff off. The fan, everything, it's all over there. Pain in the butt, you know. All the vacuum lines, I took all these lines off because it's kind of like all in the way, you know. Reason I'm doing this is to remove this to get better access to this oil Let's see if I can turn the camera a little bit. Like that. See if I could get better access to the bolts. There's 4 bolts holding this oil oil filter bracket. It's hooked up to the block. There's 2 bolts on one side. They're 5.5 Allen, 5.5 millimeter. There's 2 on one side, and then there's 2 on the other side, this rear side, and they're really hard to get to. And even with the manifold off, it's still really hard to get to, and I'm trying to look at my options. The problem is that the metal here, the top part, kind of blocks the access of putting an Allen wrench straight in and turning it. There's one on, I think it's the bottom one, and there's maybe this much room to get a wrench in. I mean, you'd have to take some kind of a wrench and cut it off, do something, have a little bit, maybe a little bit with something that'll turn that bit, but it's just, even with this removed. So once I got to this point, I said, you know, because before there were a bunch of the throttle cables and Bowden cables and other stuff in the way. I can get my hand in there, you know, and I can get on, I think the 2 front ones, I can get an Allen on there and be able to turn it. The back ones, that's another story, like I said. And I was thinking to myself, why am I removing this thing? It's not going to give me much better access than I already have right now. And the heads of the Allens, let's see if I can get this all the way down in there. Some of them are in really bad condition. Like the one down below, it almost looks like it's rounded off, like somebody else tried that at one time, you know, because there's an oil leak there. It's not a big oil leak, but I wanted to fix it. So so I decided I'm just going to stop right here and just try to attack this thing if I can. But anyways, for to complete the removal, the top end is all done, right? You just start disconnecting everything and take a video, pictures of everything. You have this one on the top. There's just this one connection right there that you can see it when I move it, and that goes to cruise control actuator, which is what you see down here. It's a pretty big part, and it's bolted up to the block, I believe. You'd have to disconnect that. There's I would probably go right here with one of those forked screwdriver type things that's angled a little bit. You go like that, and then you can pop it off. I saw the guy on a Mercedes Source Kent do that really easily. I don't have that tool, and I'm kind of afraid if I break that part, where am I going to find another one that's 30 years old? So you got to get this thing loose. There are 2 supports, one here, one here. It looks like a 15 millimeter nut. I think it's a nut. You can have access. There's a hole in the frame here and a hole here. You can stick maybe one hand through there, not 2. And then there's some kind of lines about this gauge that are clipped to the bottom. There's about 2 of them, and you just got to pull those down, and then the whole thing will come out. But I decided I'm just going to stop right here, you know, and assess my situation for that blasted. I mean, they put that thing on when the engine was, you know, out of the car, because I don't see how. I don't know. I've never seen a video, or I don't think I've ever seen. I searched and searched for a couple years if anybody who's replaced that and how they did it, and I didn't find one video. And I searched for videos on removing this on an M103. I couldn't find one video. Just kind of vague instructions on how to do it. And now I know why, because it's a pain in the butt. They say this is a 6-hour job, and I know why. So, yeah, today I'm just going to get the steam cleaner, and I'm going to clean all of these bolts out and take a better look at them. But they're just, I took some pictures of them, and I was going, holy smokes. And I got the camera way down in there last night with some light. And you don't have to remove the starter to pull this thing. I thought you'd have to remove the starter, but it's just those supports right there, which is good. That starter looks like a pain in the butt. This side of the engine, it's hard to access things on it. This side is all clear. You know, I don't have any oil leaks. I fixed them all here. There's just oil leak. There's one in the front here. I think it might be the power steering. There's an oil sender down on the pan there that's leaking a little bit. It just needs a gasket. And then there's just that one right there. Should be good to go. Anyways, I did make a video on me removing all of these wires and stuff and the routing, and you know, but it was an hour and a half long. You know, I did it for myself so I can go back and put all this back together. I mean, I've got stuff everywhere, hiding in all these different directions, you know. There's just stuff everywhere that's loose. There's the Bowden. I think that's the Bowden cable. This thing here, it has big old plastic thing. I got that out. Pain in the butt. There it is right there. Yeah, that's just coolant. Yeah, so you know, I'm just gonna make this real short. You don't need to see me steam cleaning stuff. So yeah, there's a accelerator linkage right here. I decided to take it off of this post right here. There's a clip. Take the clip off, and then this'll come off like that, or you can pop that thing there. But like I said, I don't want to break it. It's 30 years old, and I'm going to clean everything off here with a steam cleaner and a brush the best I can. But you know, the car ran fine. There was nothing wrong here, right? So I'm just going to put it all back together and keep this area here open. And I've got I don't know what kind of tool I need. Maybe a ball and Allen. But like I say, there's one right underneath right there. Right underneath here. And that's the one you got to get to. And maybe with a small vice grip, I could get on that bolt. I don't know if they're made out of aluminum or not. I don't think they are, but I already have the gasket for that. But I'm going to try to fix that, put all this back together. A big, huge waste of time. I don't know. I was just going crazy. I'm going to get it off. You know, and I started thinking about it. I was going, why do I want to get it off when I can access it here? Even with this thing off, you know, you're still not going to be able to get past all of this stuff with an Allen. You can, there's room here and there's room here, you know, where I can get something even from down below, maybe. Yeah, so, you know, let me know if you want to see an hour and a half of me taking all these wires apart. Vacuum lines, electrical connectors, you know, can be really boring. But it all does come apart, you know. It all does come apart. Pretty good plastic on these, unless your engine's been cooked. This one hasn't been. All right, so I think that's about it. You know, just keep all your fasteners. You know, I've marked all the fuel injectors from what cylinder, so everything goes back exactly the same it was. I don't know if they're touchy or whatever. And then you got all your fuel lines. I'll clean all that stuff up like that. But okay, so so I'm about done. Yeah, let me know if I should post that video. It's like over an hour and a half long. It can be super boring. But like I said, I made that video for myself so I can backtrack myself to look at the routing, because wires are going in and out of that. You know, it's just crisscrossed like a bunch of vines. Anyways, this is John, and if I decide to go further and remove it for some weird reason, I'll post a part 3. All right. Talk to you guys later. It's a beautiful day. It is like 80. It's 80 degrees here in February in Southern California. Crazy, huh? All right. Talk to you later.